Hey everyone, today on People Now, Anderson Cooper celebrating his new baby boy. Andy Cohen and celebrity friends joining in with well wishes, and we have all the details.
Gigi Hadid finally confirms she's having a baby with ZAYN MALIK, and she talks about the gift from a celebrity friend that has her in tears every time she thinks about it.
Also today, Joe Biden addresses sexual assault allegations from a former junior staffer.
Plus,
a toast to the good times when we could all hang out.
Lauren Ash with the virtual cheers to bring in the weekend, and how the cast of Superstore hopes to properly say goodbye to America Ferrera.
Also today,
we weren't raised by someone who seemed like a movie star at all.
An inside look at the mysterious death of Natalie Woods in a new documentary. Plus, Natalie's daughter gives exclusive details in an interview with People.
All that and more today on People Now. Let's go. Hey everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to People Now. I'm Andrea Boehlke here in Wisconsin. We have a really exciting show today. We're going to be doing a virtual cheers with Lauren Ash later in the show. Very excited for that. Jeremy, you were just on the Today Show giving your picks for what we should be binging this weekend. So what do you got?
Yeah, so no, honestly, I'm super pumped. The new series Hollywood on Netflix. It's Ryan Murphy's newest. We've talked some about it. Darren Criss, Jim Parsons, and a few more people. It's from like the 1940s era of Hollywood and some of the underbelly, the bad stuff that went on with the studio system. Anyway, a lot of people are buzzing about that. And Netflix just now dropped Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The old one. 1971 classic is now available on Netflix. Not the Johnny Depp thing, but the real Willy Wonka.
The real true one.
The real true one. So I'm pumped for that, for like family movie night, to introduce the girls and to have a little nostalgic throwback for me. Anyway, so there's a lot coming up. Here's what you need to know and what's trending for today. We begin with Anderson Cooper getting tons of well wishes after welcoming his new baby boy, Wyatt Morgan Cooper, via surrogate earlier this week. Good friend Andy Cohen shared this picture of Cooper kissing Wyatt. It was on Instagram.
Yeah, he captioned the sweet snapshot, in part, quote, "New life, new hope. Wyatt Cooper, you couldn't have come at a better time." Cohen, who also welcomed son Benjamin Allen via surrogate last year, added, "I know a friend who can't wait to meet you."
Cooper announced the happy news on Thursday on his Instagram and on his show, Anderson Cooper 360. His post on Instagram was flooded with messages of support and congratulations. Leslie Jordan wrote, "This warms my heart and I'm so happy for you. Sending you both all my love."
Meanwhile, Kelly Ripa wrote in part, "Our hearts are filled with love and can't stop the tears of joy." She also said she and her family can't wait to meet Wyatt in person. Ricky Martin commented, "Congrats, my friend, hashtag welcome baby Wyatt," along with a few baby-themed emojis. Other supportive comments came from stars like Mark Consuelos, Don Lemon, Rosie O'Donnell, Olivia Munn, Carly Kloss, and Rachel Zoe.
Yeah, during his emotional announcement on CNN, the host revealed Wyatt is sweet and soft and healthy, and he is beyond happy. He also shared that Wyatt is named after Anderson's late father, who died when Cooper was only 10 years old.
In his Instagram post, he thanked the remarkable surrogate who gave birth to Wyatt and shared that as a gay kid, he never thought he would become a father. Cooper also wrote that he wished his parents and brother Carter were alive to meet Wyatt, but that he likes to believe they can see him, and that they are, quote, "happy to know that their love is alive in me and in Wyatt, and that our family continues."
Yeah, so great to hear that. We wish Anderson Cooper and his baby all the best.
All right, Gigi Hadid has confirmed that she's expecting a child with her boyfriend ZAYN MALIK on Thursday night's at-home edition of The Tonight Show. Watch this.
Thank you so much for doing our show, and I gotta say, congratulations on expecting a baby. This is the best news ever.
Thank you so much. Obviously, we wish we could have announced it on our own terms, but we're very excited and happy and grateful for everyone's well wishes and support.
Gigi is currently social distancing with her family and ZAYN on their farm in Pennsylvania. She explains to Jimmy that her pregnancy is a nice silver lining to be able to be home, to be together, and to really experience it all day by day.
She also opened up about her first pregnancy craving everything bagels with cream cheese. In fact, she's been eating them so much that her family ordered her a bagel-shaped cake made by Cake Boss star Buddy Valastro for her 25th birthday recently.
Sounds good. Gigi loved that cake so much, is such a fan of the TLC show, that she actually told Jimmy she couldn't stop crying when it all happened. She said, quote, "I don't know if it was my hormones right now or just like quarantine emotionalness, but I cried every 5 minutes or an hour every time I thought about that Buddy made my cake." She added, "I was just so happy and honored that he would make my cake during quarantine." So it really touched her.
All right, moving on to a serious story now. On Friday, former Vice President Joe Biden appeared on MSNBC's Morning Joe to address assault charges made by his former junior staffer, Tara Reade. Now, Reade worked in Biden's Senate office from 1992 to 1993 and alleges that Biden sexually assaulted her on Capitol Hill when she went to give him a gym bag. Watch Morning Joe host Nika Brzezinski ask Biden directly about those accusations.
Did you sexually assault Tara Reade?
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened.
So Biden added in part, quote, "It was 27 years ago. I don't remember, nor does anyone else I'm aware of." He went on to reveal that he has not reached out to her, continuing, "When she first made the claim, we made it clear that it never happened."
Biden says he stands by his belief that those coming forward with credible sexual assault claims should be heard, and their claims should be vetted. Tara Reade was among a group of women who said last year that Biden inappropriately touched them and made them physically uncomfortable. However, none of the other women said he assaulted them. Biden has said he's offered, as he puts it, countless handshakes, hugs, expressions of affection, support, and comfort. He says this about them: "Not once, never did I believe I acted inappropriately." He suggested the blame was with shifting social mores, but said he would do better.
And a warning here, some of these details are graphic. Reade claims that Biden kissed her and penetrated her with his fingers in 1993 while she was a staff assistant. She was 29 at the time, and he was 50. She originally told a local newspaper in April 2019 that when she worked in Biden's Senate office, he crossed the line by touching her on the shoulder and neck, and that he wanted her to essentially waitress at an event to show off her legs for him. Two other top Biden aides, whom Reade said she complained to about harassment in 1993, told People they don't recall working with her or her coming to them. Various staffers from Biden's years in the Senate, including other women, told the Associated Press, The Post, and The Times that they did not witness misconduct and that their experience was not like Reade's.
The presumptive 2020 presidential nominee for the Democratic Party said that he is confident there is no official complaint filed, but adds if there is, quote, "put it out." When asked whether he would disclose any complaints made against him, Biden said he's an open book. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, remember you can contact the National Sexual Assault Hotline at the number below or go to online.rain.org. Now we move on to this.
Michael Jordan has mainly kept himself out of the spotlight since his retirement, and according to his former agent, even when being offered very large sums of money.
Yeah, on Wednesday, David Falk appeared on WFAN's Boomer and Geo and revealed just how particular Jordan is about signing onto projects. So he shared that Jordan once turned down a whopping $100 million for a 2-hour appearance at an event where all he had to do was give his name and likeness. I mean, it's mind-blowing, Jeremy.
Absolutely wild. Falk didn't give many details about the event, but he praised Jordan for putting so much thought into the projects that he takes on. He continued saying, "God bless him. He's been so successful. It gives him an opportunity to do whatever the hell he wants or not to do things he doesn't want. I really admire that." That was
now, this comes amid Jordan's ESPN documentary, The Last Dance, which is about his final season with the Chicago Bulls. The 10-part series takes a look at the Bulls' historic 1997 through 1998 season, which was filled with uncertainty and drama, but culminated with the team winning its 6th championship of the 90s.
Though Jordan is the focus of the documentary, it also shows a look behind the scenes at other key figures from the team. The documentary's first 2 episodes aired on April 19th, and 2 new episodes will air every Sunday at 9 p.m. until the finale. That is on May 17th. Can't wait. All right, stay with us. You know her as the voice of Disney's Princess Tiana, and now actress ANIKA Noni Rose is helping kids cope during the coronavirus. We're going to tell you how. Plus, Natalie Wood's death has captivated the country for decades. We have details on People's exclusive interview with Wood's daughter, Natasha, who produced a new HBO documentary all about her mom. Stick around for that.
All right, we are so excited now because we are joined by a People Now favorite. She's from Superstore. It's Lauren Ash. Lauren, how's it going?
Good morning. How are ya?
Good. Looking great. Hey, so we were just thinking about this. Angie and I were talking. One of the last times that we saw you, we were all hanging out at the EW Emmys pre-party. It was so fun. And we figured, hey, why not like usher in the day and, you know, a toast to the good times so we could all hang out.
I love
Cheers.
it. Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh, this feels right, you guys. It's like we're right back there again, but I'm in pajamas. You know what I mean?
Even better. Even better.
That would have made that night even better. You know what I mean? Ditch the Spanx, put on the pajama pants. I think we should make a movement when the world opens up again.
I think you're right.
Yeah, Lauren, we're happy to have you. You're one of our favorites. I want to know, how have you been keeping busy? What's been the best thing and then the worst thing about your experience staying home right now?
You know, it's interesting. I think I may be the busiest I've ever been in my entire life, which seems impossible during a pandemic, but I'm doing, you know, a lot of stuff like this. My podcast is continuing. I've been making content with my friend Stephanie Beatrice for NBC. I've been doing an online sketch show. I think I need a vacation from quarantine is the joke. I'm like, can I take a staycation within isolation? Like, I'm thinking about putting up a, I'm not available for the next week sign.
That's your Zoom. It's just, I'm not available. It appears that you have a boyfriend. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
What's the story? Spencer Ralston, right?
Spencer Ralston. Wow, you guys do your research here, which is
yeah,
you know, it's funny because we got together early December last year, and he's amazing. And then so going into quarantine, it was like, well, are we gonna do this together? It's like, yeah, let's do it. So we had been together about 3 months when we started quarantine, and now 6 weeks later, we've been together for 15 years. So
fast track to all the good and bad, probably.
Yeah, it really does kind of just it just speeds everything along, which is great. You know, it's nice. Why not?
I just listened to your podcast with Elena Davies, and it was interesting because you said that you kind of swore off dating, like actually we're not dating, and then he came along. Is that how it went down when you stopped looking?
It did. And I have always heard that it's like, once you stop looking, then it'll happen. And so I used to try and pretend like I was like, I'm really over it. I don't want it anymore. I'm fine alone. And it was not true. I didn't fully believe it or feel it. And so that never worked out, even though I was trying to delude myself. But I literally had such a bad, because the last time I saw you guys at that Emmy party, I don't know if you remember, but I was talking about a breakup I had, I think within a week of seeing you guys.
It had just happened, right?
It had just happened, and it was really, I hadn't been dating him that long, but it was really awful. And I remember at that time being like, I think I'm done. Like, I think this is it. And I really did swear off of it. It was just like, no, I had dated someone after that for like a couple weeks, and it was awful too. And I was like, I think that's it. I think I'm over it. And so it kind of, Spencer really came out of nowhere.
So you're a taken lady, but what's your advice or what are your thoughts right now for people that are trying to date new people right now? Do you think that it's smart to go on the apps right now, do the virtual dating? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's risky, and I'll tell you why. As somebody who has fallen prey at the best of times to potential suitors secretly, I don't know, having wives and children you don't know about, I would say that during this time, I think there is a large percentage of risk that you could be encountering people who maybe are bored, who maybe are not actually in this situation, who maybe are wanting to, tear their own hair out, so they're looking for a distraction.
Maybe you could distract yourself by binging Superstore. This is a segue. Into Superstore. The season just got cut short. And this was America Ferrera's last season, right? So it's kind of, has to be a little bit of a gut punch that she didn't get that final episode, but I understand you guys are still going to shoot that at the beginning of filming for the next season. Is that right? How's that going to play out?
Yeah, so basically, we did get shut down right before our last episode. So instead of 22 episodes, we did 21. And it was interesting because originally the episode that aired last week as our, final episode of season 5, that was supposed to go into the actual finale. But that episode did kind of work as a finale. It's a bit of a cliffhanger. We know that there's a big change coming for Amy and Jonah. And so I think it's actually gonna be really interesting to kind of move that last episode into the beginning of season 6, which they have, publicly announced that that's the plan. And, for us also, it's gonna be nice to get to have her back and give her a proper send off, because the way the season ended was so sad. And I was like, I think we gotta have you come back for the first episode of season 6 to, properly not only, of course, service the Amy storyline of the show, but also this is someone that we've worked with for 5 years. That's a half a decade. And it feels very unjust, since she's such a dear friend, to just let her go without some sort of fanfare.
NICO SANTOS on a few days ago.
Yeah.
I specifically asked, because we know you well, I specifically asked him to spill a story about you that would maybe almost be like too embarrassing to tell. And he said the only thing he could say is that you guys went on some rowdy trip to Vegas, and he said that you went window shopping for some services, and that's all he would say. So what is that all about, Lauren Ash?
Well, here's what I'm going to say that I think is the greatest part of all of this is that, yeah, he certainly made it sound like it was such a rowdy trip to Vegas, but I'll let you know what the rest of the story was, which was we, like Golden Girls, decided to go to dinner at this one sushi restaurant I love very early. And then the next night it was like, do you want to go back to that same restaurant? Yeah. so sure, he makes, and listen, there's not really much to elaborate on what he's told you because nothing happened. And then we just decided to eat at the same restaurant 2 nights in a row, like a couple. Just
so that's the wild trip. Window shopping for sushi at a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, we decided that we were, that restaurant was so good. We're going to go back a second night in a row. Like,
do you guys do like the breakfast buffets?
Oh my gosh. I mean, look, we love a buffet. That's the thing I love about NICO is, listen, Ben Feldman, he doesn't call himself a foodie because true foodies don't use the term foodie. We all know this. But the thing I love about NICO is that he's like me, where he's like high-low. Like we'll go to Ben Feldman's level. We love it. That's great. But he's not afraid to like sit down at a Chili's with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the nice thing.
Yeah, I get those deep fried chicken tenders basket, whatever. Not that I've
the fajitas, man, the sizzling fajitas.
Okay.
All I want.
Hey, so NICO obviously has gone through a whole lot with the loss of his stepfather, his mother also with coronavirus, and she's gotten better, thank God, and has been dealing with that. I'm sure as a fellow cast member, you and the others would want to have been there in a more tangible way, but due to the isolation, probably weren't able to. But was that kind of the feeling that you had that, oh man, wish that you could have been able to reach out more? How'd that go?
It's a real feeling of helplessness in that situation, because my instinct when, he told us what was going on, my instinct was like, oh, I need to go to him. Like I need to get in my car and go. And I'm like, well, we're not really in that position right now. And so it was a very odd thing to try and support someone close to you through that kind of experience, because you're trying to make yourself available as much as you can. But then also it's like, I think it's a different process for him given the circumstance. Funny part of this story, believe it or not, which is obviously he had gone through an immensely difficult time and he had a birthday coming up around that time. And his very sweet boyfriend sent me a message and said, I'm thinking of putting together a surprise video with video messages wishing NICO a happy birthday, something to kind of like, just a little bit of lightness or whatever, because it is his birthday. And so I'm like, I'm on it. I'll do anything for my baby boy. I'll do it. I'm like, I'll get the cast on board. I'll rally them. Don't you worry. So I pick up my phone and I'm
immediately on it.
And I send the text and I'm like, hey, listen, Z stuff is planned. We're gonna all make videos wishing NICO a happy birthday. Send. And then I realized that NICO was on that text chain and I ruined it.
Oh
no! And he literally, NICO just writes back like all laughing, like emojis. And then he's like, honestly, I needed this laugh right now. This was actually fabulous, because it was just like, I felt so sick, like a legitimate, I actually felt like
you ruined it. Yeah.
I'm going to throw up. This poor, dear friend of mine has gone through such a difficult period, and we're just trying to do something nice for him, and I spoiled it. It was a very overwhelming couple of days.
Today, I'm going to be reading you a story about some animals. Therefore, I thought I should be dressed as an animal too. I am a bear tonight. But I will be reading about a pig and an elephant.
ANIKA Noni Rose is not only a Tony Award winner and the voice of Disney Princess Tiana, she's working to help your kids cope with what's going on during the coronavirus.
Yeah, she's giving little kids a cozy, fun space of normalcy with her weekly online series called Bedtime Stories for the Littles. ANIKA wants kids to know that it's completely normal to be silly, and it also helps give parents a little break. Take a listen.
I think that babies feel things, so they don't know what's happening. Let's be honest, we barely know what's happening. But they feel the energy of what's going around them. They know something is wrong. They know it's not normal to have to be inside all the time. And they know it's not normal to see their godparent come and drop something off and have to not be able to hug them or touch them, or say hi from the window, like, So I felt like I wanted to give I wanted to give the little kids just something soft, something fun, something easy, something that made them feel cozy and safe and within some space of normalcy. It's completely normal to be absolutely silly and say words that make zero sense. It's completely normal to access our imagination, to take ourselves somewhere else. It's normal to make mistakes. I made a mistake while I was trying to post that story that day, and I was like, ta-da! And then I was like, wait a minute, you're posting a story about how it's okay to make a mistake. Calm yourself down. But I also, you know, wanted to give the parents a break because, I mean, it's hard to be parent and teacher and do whatever work you're trying to do and stay sane and hide your fear from your little one. I wanted to give an end of the week respite.
Growing up, ANIKA was always reading, and she wants children to share in that same excitement.
I've always been a reader, and so it's really exciting to me also to get children excited about reading. I want them to be excited about reading. I want them to know that reading is a vacation. Reading is traveling. Reading is knowledge you may never find in your classroom, and it's enriching to your spirit in so much a different way than other types of learning, and it allows you to feed yourself. So that's really important to me. Children's literacy is intensely important to me, and you know, I think that it's very important to read to children, and there are lots of studies about that. Some children don't get read to as often as they should, not because parents don't care, but because parents are busy. You know, life is different. So I hope that I can inspire some children who maybe weren't interested in reading or not quite ready or like it and want to do more, to pick up books on their own, to see what excites them, to tell me what they want, but to keep looking, because reading it's free. We have libraries. Amazingly, libraries are one of the biggest gifts that we have. So it can be free. It doesn't have to be a rich man's sport. And it is just a gift. I just think it's a gift. I've always felt that way.
ANIKA wanted to share the stories that she loved as a child, such as Aesop Fables, Higgledy Piggledy Pop, and The Snowy Day.
ANIKA is also encouraging people to give back if they can. She's been highlighting organizations like the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving and the Coralie Bentley Radcliffe Memorial Fund, which was named after her grandmother. She chose it in honor of her uncle who recently passed away.
My uncle, William Radcliffe, passed away. He lived in a group home. There were 6 people in his home. 3 of them were rushed to the hospital on the same day. All 3 of them were dead by Monday. 2 of them tested definitely positive for COVID. He did not test positive, but he had the pneumonia in his lungs. He is not somebody who's ever had that problem before. And I had started a fund in my grandmother's name, the Coralie Bentley Radcliffe Memorial Fund. She's a special education teacher, and my uncle was a special needs person. He was a senior, which is amazing because he wasn't supposed to live past 30. And he did that twice. But the real point is this fund assists special needs children in the Hartford area with assets that they need, and they will need more during COVID and after COVID. When you think of a group home where people are unable, because these people were not able to leave this group home on their own, they couldn't move around on their own or get things on their own, that means that it came into them. These are the people that are most often forgotten on a regular day.
Love that. ANIKA recently appeared in Hulu's latest drama, Little Fires Everywhere, as the young Mia Warren's art professor turned lover. ANIKA reveals that even though the groundbreaking Black queer love story was only featured in one episode, it felt very complete and true and honest. That was her quote.
ANIKA calls actress Tiffany Boone, who portrayed young Mia, such a joy to work with. And although she didn't get to bond with everyone on set, she really felt included. Take a listen.
Let me speak for myself. I did not get time to bond with people on set. I thought Nzinga Stewart, who's our director, we had some time, which was lovely, because she was fantastic. But what I will tell you is, it was such an inclusive set that you didn't feel like you weren't connected to people. You didn't feel like you were being a piece dropped into a space, because they made certain that everyone felt welcome, everyone felt necessary, and an important part of what was happening. And I give that credit to Kerry and Reese and Pilar and the rest of the producers. And it was, you know, what you saw in front of the camera with all of these amazing women, you also saw behind the camera, which was fantastic and very different. And, you know, we had a powwow before, as I was getting my hair done. So I had like one side of my hair in braids and the other side in fro. And so we had a powwow, and it was Kerry, Nzinga, I can't remember who else was in the room, but just to say hey and talk about where we wanted to go, where I wanted to go, what I thought this character was. And then I saw Kerry quite a bit on set, and we've worked together before, so that was not different. But it imbued me with a sense of pride for her to watch her step into this different place as a producer, which was really lovely. And like I said, Reese and I had zero work at all together, and she made sure that she came by while I was doing the scene to say hello and welcome. And that doesn't always happen on a set. I have to tell you, sets are not always pleasant. So this was special in many good ways.
Be sure to tune into ANIKA's Bedtime Stories for the Littles series, Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on her Instagram. Now we move on to this.
Leah, you wearing a Sonia dress? I was supposed to wear this. You know what? I told her to explain. Seriously. I gave you a back. I think you're full of and I think you're passive aggressive.
Last night's episode of The Real Housewives of New York City took place during New York Fashion Week, and even though LUANN'S was out of town during Sonia Morgan's fashion show, our producer Sam Belikoff had to get her opinion on if the look Sonia gave Leah McSweeney to wear to her show was meant to be passive-aggressive or not.
Yeah, so we talk about that. Plus, the Countess teases what's coming up next week. Watch this.
Did you think Sonia was being passive-aggressive with Leah's outfit? Like, what did you think of that whole situation?
I think that Sonia was being passive-aggressive. I think that Sonia can make little digs like that without even realizing it. I think, you know, she didn't even consider the fact that all the other girls were wearing dresses, and she sent her sweatpants because why? Because she has a leisure wear company. I just thought it was kind of a dig.
What would you have done if she gave that to you to wear?
I probably would have worn it. Let her see just how inappropriate it was.
The preview for next week, we see that you and Jacques are together again.
Who's going to LUANN'S to see Jacques? I'm going. Is she not drinking? I think she goes day by day. So, but she's not committed to long term?
A good glass of red wine if you can manage to have one.
Not two, huh?
One.
What's that relationship been like for you, and what did it feel to bring him back into the mix on the show?
You know what, I adore Jacques. He's like family to me. You know, his family's in Paris, so I'm like his family here in America. And we're super tight. We're just really good friends. You know, Jacques was with me when I was raising the children when they were like teenagers. So we've been through a lot together. And so we've remained really tight and friends, and I just adore him. So you'll get to see him this season on the show.
Yeah, and he's not single, right?
He's not. He's actually dating a girl called Paige. They actually got engaged.
Wow, congrats.
Yeah.
We also see in the preview, and this was in the trailer too.
I never the pirate. So please welcome to the stage, Jacques Azoulay.
Anything you want to clear up? Tease for us?
Well, I say it was actually, we're doing an anti-bullying fundraiser, and Jacques is into stand-up comedy. So we're doing this thing, and I thought it would be funny to bring up that topic again because, you know, I was with Jacques when the whole pirate thing went down. So I thought it was very important to be clear that I never a pirate.
And does that stir up anything with Sonia? Does she?
Well, I think it did. I think Sonia still thinks that I slept with the pirate, although she's the one who slept with the pirate. Anyway.
You can catch Countess Luann in season 12 of The Real Housewives of New York City, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Bravo.
I always knew that she was an actor, but you know, around the house, my mom didn't wear a lot of makeup and she was very casual. So I would look at her and think, what's the big deal about you, lady? But then she and my stepdad would get dressed up and they would go out to dinner or something, and she was amazing looking. But we weren't raised by someone who seemed like a movie star at all. All she just seemed was sort of larger than life, but not because she was famous, more because she was just her.
The HBO documentary film Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind, debuts May 5th on HBO. It's produced by Natalie's daughter, Natasha Gregson Wagner. It gives fans an inside look at the life and the career of the legendary actress with interviews by her closest friends and family. People's East Coast news editor Liz McNeil joins me now to break it all down. Liz, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's good to see you. We were saying this is the story that is so fascinating and continues to capture I don't know, kind of an audience and just so much intrigue. Why did Natasha want to create this documentary at this point?
You know, Natasha's 49 years old, and she finally got to the point where she realized, I want to tell my mom's story. For so many years, other people have told the story. And as you know, oftentimes her life was eclipsed by the circumstances surrounding her death. So she really wanted to talk about who her mom was and how she lived.
Yeah, well, what was it like for Natasha losing her mother at such a young age? I mean, it's impossible, I guess, to fully imagine it unless that's something that you've been through. But from her perspective, what was that experience?
You know, Natasha calls it the defining moment of her life, and she's 11 years old, and it really is the event that dictates everything that comes after for her. Incredibly painful. She uses the word shattering for her and her family. But then as she got to the point where she was in her mid-40s, her mother died at 43, and she became a mom, she sort of wanted to rediscover her mom. And she has this poetic way of saying it where she felt like her mother had been waiting for her to tell her story.
Oh, wow. How does she remember her mother? I mean, she was so young when it happened, but still old enough to certainly maintain, you know, memory of her.
There was this really incredible bond between them. Interestingly enough, Natalie Wood's real name is Natasha Gurdon, before it was changed. She became a young star. Natasha is Natasha. And she has this incredible moment in the memoir that she has written saying, we were Natasha. So they were really bonded. So she has a lot of very specific memories, very intimate memories, you know, very sort of warm and cozy memories. Of course, she was glamorous and she remembers all that side of her mother, but she really remembers her as this very warm, intimate, cozy person.
And then on the other side of this, you've got this speculation that Robert could have been involved in her mother's death. How does she feel about that?
This is an incredibly painful topic for the family, and for so many years they never addressed it, or really very rarely. Finally she got to the point, she's in her mid-40s, and she realizes that I want to address it. She says enough is enough. And she sort of herself goes back to examine what happened that night. And that is some of that is seen in the film, where she talks to her mother's closest friends, and she interviews her father and asks him to tell her what happened that night.
Yeah, so Robert Wagner is actually in the documentary. He opens up about the details of that night. Why was that something that she wanted to include?
Interestingly enough, she said it was the first scene that they shot because she knew that if they couldn't have that in the movie, her father wasn't able to do it, they wouldn't have had a movie. So it's very intimate and painful. At one point, they're both fighting back tears as she asks him what happened and what he remembers. And it's really a powerful moment because it's a father and a daughter. It's her mother who died, and he's one of the last people to see her. So it's this very incredibly moving, powerful moment.
It's really fascinating to hear that story. Liz, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind debuts May 5th on HBO.
So we are loving Jeffrey Dean Morgan and his wife Hillary Burton's new show on AMC called Friday Night In with the Morgans. They talk to their friends about life in self-isolation and all the practical measures everyone can take during the pandemic. But in the next episode, they'll be giving viewers a special treat, a tour of their Mischief Farm in New York State. The animals are so adorable. We are so excited for this one.
Another theme has been a Walking Dead reunion in every episode so far. So we asked Jeffrey if we could expect more guests to appear from the Walking Dead world. And here's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is, right now we're doing 4 episodes. That was our initial order. And, we sent out an email to all of our friends saying, hey, we're doing this thing. And it was sort of like who responded first. So we really know who our best friends are. Yeah, the responsible ones who check their email. I know everybody wants Norman Reedus to come on, so we're trying to get him and his schedule worked out. We wanted him for 1. And he dilly-dallied, man. You dilly-dally and you lose your spot.
You get bumps.
So,
yeah, you get bumps.
Yeah, that was it. We don't have time. Literally, we got greenlit with the show and we shot like 3 days later. So, I mean, we had 0 time for dilly-dally.
Yeah. You know what? This may seem completely ridiculous, but I'm not kidding when I say throughout this process, especially as New York City has sort of shut down and the streets became bare, I started having these, I thought of references from Walking Dead so often and started thinking like, oh my gosh, what should I do? Like, what did they do? They left the city, go to the country. What should I do? Have you, at any practical level, I know that's a little silly, but at any practical level at all, have you thought of little tips and tricks that you've learned from being on the show that are actually usable for kind of maintaining your situation in isolation?
Well, you got to remember that we had the farm before I started the job on The Walking Dead. So
You're already a survivalist.
I was a farmer before I was a survivor, yeah. But I did realize that I am much more, say, Herschel than I am Negan.
That's right. Front door. There is fully a baseball.
I got a bat by the front door, but it's really hard to smack a fire around.
The show is really building up to this epic finale before the pandemic hit. The break's increasing anticipation. I mean, what can fans expect from it when it finally does air?
Well, it's Greg Nicotero directed it, so whenever he directs an episode, it's going to be massive. So, what did we leave it out at? We left it as, Alpha is dead at the hands of Negan. Thank you very much. And the issue now is Beta and this massive horde of walkers that are kind of closing in on our survivors. Negan being one of them at this point. So I think there's going to have to be some sort of a clash, as it were, a season-ending clash that also is going to have to set up next year, which, we introduced that new character, Princess, on the show, who I love.
Yeah, we like Princess.
So we'll see. I mean, there's a couple of different storylines going, but at some point, I think we have to get everyone on the screen at the same time and see where the story goes next.
Fans' heads will just explode when that happens. You're all there. It's all happening. Hillary, I hear you saying you like Princess, you like some of the characters. What do you think about Negan?
I'm super into Negan.
Are you super into him?
Yeah, you know what I like about it is that it inserts some humor into what can be a grim narrative. I feel like you have so much fun with the character.
Where's Rick?
Don't care. Hot diggity dog. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That's fun to watch. Somebody just messing with people on a regular basis. It's a charming quality. I'm into it.
Yeah, my wife is a little crazy.
Yeah.
So, she digs the Negan, yeah.
Meanwhile, Hillary told us what to expect from her new book called The Rural Diaries, which will be released on May 5th. Take a look.
It's a weird time for the book to come out because it's a love letter to our community. It's a love letter to my husband. It's a love letter to our farm. And we're in a situation right now where, those are all things that I love. And I don't get to hang out in our town. And,
she's going to cry.
I'm going to cry. I miss our town. I put a lot of love into it. So I hope they feel that. I think what I wanted to show was the importance of taking risks. We decided as a unit to take a lot of big risks in moving out here and leaving the industry and hoping that we'd still work. And moving out to the middle of nowhere where we're the only people that we see most of the time, and that risk has paid off. And so you hear a lot of people say, oh, I want to move to a farm. That's my retirement plan. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And it's really important that we live every day in the now, and you take those risks. You don't know how much time you have, and you don't know what the next bend is going to bring. So yeah, I think encouraging people to take risks and to be okay with failure. I fail a lot. I fail a lot in the book, and I cop to it. And so I hope people see that failure is okay. It's part of the growth process.
You did good.
Jeffrey also stars in a new movie. It's called Walk Away Joe, and that movie releases on digital and on demand May 8th. He shared the plot of the movie with us. Take a look.
It's a story of a kid who's my son, who has a crappy father, me, and he's befriended by this guy, David Strathairn plays this character who kind of befriends him, and that's sort of the basic setup of the story. But it's about this relationship and a kid going through some hard times and trying to find the ground below him and steady his feet because he's had a hard time growing up, in no small part to his horrible father. But I got to play pool, and
yeah, you look good in the cowboy hat.
Yeah. So she likes me again, and
yeah, right. And I'll tell you, she's #1 cheerleader over here. This is great.
Got a type.
All right, coming up next week, Daniel Radcliffe and Ellie Kemper join us. They are starring in Netflix's newest interactive special, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Kimmy versus the Reverend.
Plus, Reno 911 is back. Wendy McClendon-Covey is telling us what it's like to return to the series after nearly 11 years. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing weekend, everyone.
Bye, guys.